Gay Stuff.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another week here at Just Gay Stuff podcast. I am Jess.
And I'm Lauren. You stopped doing the robot as I was doing it.
Oh, I left you hanging.
You did.
Well, if everyone is listening, which I hope that you are, because if you're not listening, then I don't know how you're hearing this. But Lauren is still away having a brilliant time in Japan while
am.
I'm lonely at home.
You're not lonely. You have dogs and your mum.
I'm so lonely.
So lonely.
So lonely. You're just letting it out to the universe that we still live at home with my mum.
Oh, yeah.
Well, to make me happy in this very sad and lonely time, and hopefully to entertain all of our listeners while you're away, we've got another one of our favorite episodes that we absolutely love doing this week to bring some joy, because I love having opinions on other people's bullshit. I love it because it makes me happy. It makes me feel better about the shit that we do.
Oh, does it?
It does. And that is another episode of Am I the Asshole?
Ooh.
We have so many of these in our inbox. I had to go through some of the best ones. Some of them are very brief.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, ooh. So I like to find the really in-depth stories, and I found them for this episode.
I love it. I love the Am I the Asshole episodes.
Me too.
Because storytelling episodes are the best, I feel.
And judging other people's wrongdoings.
Yeah,
It's
well,
fun.
yeah, true. It is fun.
So should we get stuck in?
We should.
I feel like we shouldn't blubber around
No.
and do whatever. I think we should just get stuck in.
Let's go for it.
Okay, so let's start with story number 1.
Dun, dun, dun.
I'm going to be reading these today. I know I read the last ones, but I really wanted to lead this episode.
Oh, okay.
So you're in the hot seat. You're going to, give your opinion, even though
Sure.
I'm also going to give mine because I do that anyway.
Because you can't help yourself.
Absolutely. So starting at story number 1. Am I the arsehole for not visiting my in-laws after they continuously disapproved of me and didn't come to my wife and I's lesbian wedding?
Just on that sentence, no, but I need to hear the broader story.
Okay, here goes. My wife and I have been together for 5 years and married for 6 months. And in the lead up to our wedding, her parents refused to come to our wedding because we're 2 women. They never really approved of her sexuality, even though they've kept their relationship with her, but have always kept that stupid underlying phrase of, we support you, but we don't support your lifestyle.
Ugh.
This never sat right with me, and her parents never came to our wedding.
Ugh.
In the 5 years we've been together before we got married, we had an IVF journey and had a beautiful baby girl 2 years ago.
Aww.
We wanted to get having kids out of the way before getting married because obviously you never know how much it's going to cost or how long it is going to take.
That is very true.
That rings so true right now.
Right now, we're
Yeah.
having these discussions
We're
constantly.
having these discussions, yes. I think we would take the same route. We would go for
Yeah.
kids before marriage because
Yeah.
still I don't really care about a wedding.
I do.
Anyway, fast forward to now. My wife is away for work and it's currently school holidays. My wife's parents, who have never approved of me or our relationship, want to see our daughter for the holidays, but I just can't bring myself to spend time with them without my wife. And for other reasons, I don't feel comfortable leaving my daughter with them for a day. Her mum is a bit of a control freak and her dad can be a bit of an abusive drunk. I'm feeling like, I would not leave my child.
neither.
My wife and I got into a big fight over the fact I don't want to take our daughter to see them by myself. I'm afraid of the uncomfortable situations and disrespect I receive from them, but my wife says they deserve to see their grandchild. What annoys me is they only treat our daughter like she's their grandchild because my wife had her. Her parents openly said if I was the one to carry, they wouldn't have considered our baby their family.
Oh.
I just can't stand the disrespect. Am I the asshole for refusing to be the one to take our daughter to them, or am I standing up to disrespect? I don't want to keep fighting with my wife.
I don't think you're the asshole in this story at all.
It's a hard
tricky
situation.
It's a very tricky situation. I think if your wife wasn't involved, then I'd straight up be like, no, you're not the asshole, because one, it's your child just as much as it is her child. And you are just essentially standing up for disrespect. And I would not leave my child with an abusive drunk or an
But it is
control
their grandchild.
freak.
But I totally get what this person is saying. Like, you can't just appease people for the sake of appeasing them. If they're awful to you, why would you take them? I think
It'd be different if the wife was there as well and it was like spending time all together. That way it's that sort of mutual bridging.
The wife is clearly the buffer
Yeah.
between the partner and the parents.
Because I was going to say, if it's just the parent, like the in-laws and the grandchild, then yeah, no, I wouldn't either, essentially.
Because how much disrespect are you going to cop, really?
And then in terms of the disrespect, how much do you really know about these people either? If they're able to disrespect you so quickly on just based on your sexuality, what else are they going to do or disrespect you on?
I think the best solution to this problem is put your foot down and say you're happy for them to see their grandchild, but only if your wife is going to be around. And I
Yeah.
suppose that's the big argument of this is she doesn't want to go without her wife.
Yeah, have a bit of a compromise, essentially. I
Maybe
think it's
on
just
the weekends,
communication.
if the wife isn't working. Whenever the wife's not working, go and see them as a family.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no.
But no, you're not the asshole in this story.
I agree. I don't think she's the asshole in
No.
this story. Okay. Story 1 down. Story number 2. Am I the asshole for accidentally flooding my ex-girlfriend's apartment but refusing to pay the repairs because she cheated on me?
Huh? Question marks.
This one actually had a Dear Jess and Lauren.
Ooh.
Dear Jess and Lauren, what a mess I am in.
Why do your name always come up first?
Because it just rolls off the tongue,
Okay.
Jess and Lauren. Here's the backstory. I had a girlfriend for 3 years. Looking back, it was a pretty turbulent situation. Maybe even a situationship and not a relationship. Anyway, we lasted 3 years.
the relationship.
People defined the relationship.
People need to define their relationships
That's true.
they're in.
They definitely do. Anyway, we lasted 3 years. 3 years longer than we should have. We lived together in a little apartment just outside of the city. Over the course of our relationship, my girlfriend grew distant and I had an underlying feeling that she was cheating on me. One night, while she was in the shower, I snooped her phone and found out that I was correct. Oof, been there before.
Triggered. Hashtag triggered.
I found message after message from multiple other women. Flirty messages all the way to sexting and even messages about how much she wished she wasn't with me so she could be with them.
Jesus.
Ouch, that hurts.
Yeah.
Naturally, after some courage, I confronted her. It was a big fight and she left. She didn't come back to the apartment for a week, but had texted me and told me to get out. It was only her name on the lease. She never put me on it, which again was another red flag, I suppose, down the line. In the week that she gave me to move out of my stuff, I was very considerate. I never took anything that wasn't exclusively mine. Even the purchases we made together, I left behind. On the last night that I was getting my things together, I ran a bath and in the meantime had forgot the tap was on.
Oh no.
Naturally, the bathtub started to overflow and water was all over the floor. I cleaned up what I could, but there was some damage. I texted my ex and I told her what had happened and that I'd leave some money in an envelope to help pay for it, and I left. About a year later, she obviously is trying to move out of the apartment and the landlord isn't happy with the damage on the bathroom floor and wall. She started messaging me, telling me it was my responsibility to further pay for the damage so she can get out of her lease and get her bond back. As far as I'm concerned, it's not my responsibility. I already left money to help. She cheated on me and I was never on the lease, which was her decision, so I'm not responsible. So I blocked her from contacting me and I'm trying to wash my hands of it. But one of my friends thinks I'm the asshole. So am I the asshole or am I trying to move on like she did while she was still with me?
This is such a complex story.
It's hard.
It's hard. Ooh. I think, look, it's hard because even though you claim this person was your girlfriend, I'm like, were they really?
I think they were. I think she's just saying after the back and forth and finding out she was cheating, they probably shouldn't have been together.
Right.
I think that's what she's trying to convey.
Okay.
I don't think she's saying, oh, we were living together and fucking, but we weren't actually together and she was seeing all these people. I don't think it was as black and white as
Right.
that. Yeah.
I do not think that this person is the asshole. Everyone makes mistakes. Sometimes you do wander off and do other things and forget a bathtub is on and water's just happening and you've tried to done it. I think the fact that you took responsibility straight away for that situation happening then, like you could have been really petty after finding out that this person cheated on you. You could have turned the bathtub up, walked out and damaged,
just left the apartment totally.
and damaged a whole lot more. So I don't think you're the asshole. I think this person is the asshole for
Cheating.
one, cheating, but two, only reaching out to you and trying to claim your part of the responsibility, even though, like you said, you weren't technically on the lease, which is another, like you said, red flag because control.
Well, technically, any damage to the apartment is not her responsibility. She's not on the lease. So as far as the landlord knows, she wasn't even living there.
Yeah, exactly.
So like in a court of law, yes, I've been watching SVU, which has nothing to do with this, but in a court of law that would never stand up that she should take the fall because she wasn't legally living there.
No, and I think it would be different if you were the asshole. One, if you didn't take responsibility. Two, if you didn't leave money to try and
Fix it in the first place.
Fix the problem or like take the accountability. Or three, if this person reached out and said, hey, do you know what happened? And it was like within that week time frame or when it first happened. But because it was a year later, I'm like, you're not the asshole in this story.
As someone who has rented before, Lauren.
Yeah.
If this had happened to you, like if this was your situation when your ex left, say that was the whole thing and she had done this to you, do you think you would have waited until you were leaving the apartment to fix the damage?
No.
Or do you think you would have done that straight away, knowing full well that she told you there was damage and that she had already tried to help?
I would have tried to fix it straight away.
Exactly.
I wouldn't be waiting.
So I think this person is trying to blame this girl
Yeah.
a year after it's happened just because she wants to leave.
Yeah, of course. So this person...
Now it's a problem.
So this person is the asshole and
Yeah, I
the
think so too.
narcissist in the situation.
I can see in a black and white setting why, because it was this girl who flooded the bathroom, I can see why, yes, it is her problem and yes, initially that was her fault. But do I think after a year's gone past that she should be held liable when she wasn't on the lease? No.
I think that's where I have the issue, other than the obvious...
It's a time issue.
Other than the obvious cheating and everything, but the issue is with the whole damage thing is the fact that they've waited the whole year instead of like then and there. You've said what's happened. I'd be like, what the fuck? What do I do now? Well, can you pay for it? Kind of.
Yeah.
Sort it out there.
I think had they sorted it out straight away, and then if she owed more money, well, then she could have helped because she'd already left money. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't think you're the asshole.
Nah, you're not the asshole.
All right, next one.
Woohoo.
Am I the asshole for not inviting my best friend to a date with my girlfriend?
Huh?
From the title, it sounds petty. It sounds like...
Also, why is your best
Why
friend
would your best
going
friend
on
go
a date with
Exactly.
your girlfriend?
It's so funny because this person even said, the title of this sounds so dumb, but let me explain.
Yeah, please do.
I recently started dating my first girlfriend who my best friend had introduced me to.
Right.
She's my very first girlfriend, so the whole process of coming to terms with my sexuality has been scary, but dating her is the most exciting thing I've ever done.
Usually is.
I remember that feeling.
Yeah, same.
I'm the happiest I've ever been. Recently, my girlfriend had planned a date with me to a movie that both my best friend and I wanted to see. But because it was a date between me and my girlfriend, naturally, I didn't invite my best friend to come along.
Fair.
In passing, my best friend found out that I had gone to see the movie with my girlfriend and she got annoyed that I didn't see it with her. I told her I didn't make the plans, my girlfriend did, but she is obviously very hurt. Am I the asshole for not inviting my best friend? She said I could have told my girlfriend that she wanted to see it with me and we could have gone to a different movie or that we could have invited her. I feel in the middle of her and my girlfriend. In the heat of the moment, she also said I would never even have a girlfriend without her because she was the one who introduced us. So am I the asshole?
Look, I don't think you're the asshole for not inviting your best friend to see the movie. I do think you have a little bit of assholeness for making plans and promises with your best friend about seeing a movie that you guys were going to see together. And I know you didn't make the plans. I know that was...
Did she make plans and promises with
I
the
don't
friend,
know.
though?
What do you usually do with best friends, don't you?
Well, yeah, okay, yes, okay.
But
I
it'd
can
be
see...
like, you can see where the repercussions come from. I think your best friend is the asshole for in the heat of the moment saying you wouldn't have a girlfriend without me. That's kind of a bit rude.
Maybe if it is true that you knew your best friend wanted to see this movie with you, I do think you could have stood up and said to your partner, oh, look, I already said to blah, blah, that I would see that with her. Do you mind if we see something else?
Yeah.
Otherwise, don't call it a date and ask your best friend to come.
Yeah, it's all about communication. Just be honest. Just be like, exactly that. Just be like, look, this is my best friend. I promised, or I spoke about seeing this movie with her. Do you mind if we see something else? And 99% of the time, people be like, yeah, that's fine. They're not going there to watch the movie anyways.
What if in this scenario, the person who's telling us this story didn't know that their partner was taking them to see the movie that their best friend wanted to see? Maybe they were like, oh, it's a surprise.
Yeah, but once you got to the cinemas and you bought the tickets, you
what
could
if
still
they already
be
bought
like,
the tickets? You know how you can buy tickets
yeah,
online?
I know.
I suppose in that regard, it would be, I didn't know we were seeing that. There was no getting out of it.
Yeah. That's a different situation.
Then I think the best friend's not being understanding,
No.
if that was the scenario.
Yeah, if that was a scenario, then yeah, the best friend's being a bit of an asshole in the way, like you said, this person had no control over the date whatsoever.
Look, I think it is tricky. There is this weird push and pull when you start a relationship and you are so close with your friends and you have this really, what's the word?
Tight-knit.
Yeah, when you have this really tight-knit best friend, it's
It's
tricky.
a relationship. That's what it is. It's
Yeah.
a best friend relationship, a
It's
platonic
tricky.
relationship.
And I think what really just needs to happen is equal time and not abandoning friendships. So I think if your friend was sad or mad about this, is it because this is a recurring thing that's happened because you are so excited about your new partner?
Yeah.
Because then I can see that it's not this scenario that's made her sad. It's like an accumulation of
Yeah.
things. Like maybe she's feeling a bit like
Neglected.
yeah, your friendship has been neglected because you are so happy with your girlfriend. And I feel like in queer relationships, we see this a lot because, as Lauren just said, when we have relationships with best friends, they are platonic relationships.
Oh, literally, my best friend is my platonic wife. Like
Yeah.
we told you that when we first met.
Exactly. So it is tricky to navigate the emotions around your friendship versus the emotions around your relationships. And because those people can fill the same cups to an extent, it is easy for people to feel replaced in a moment. So I think
Yeah.
that is tricky, and I feel like it is communication. And it is a hard thing to navigate, especially when, like, I don't know how old this person
Well,
is.
when it's their first queer relationship
Yeah.
and they're excited and in the moment, I get it. It was the same way, essentially. Not that I pushed my friends away, but still, you get lost in that moment because you're discovering yourself.
Yeah, and you're going from spending every waking moment with your best friend to wanting to spend every waking moment with your partner. And that can really create a bit of a divide when it is something new and it is something exciting and your best friend is used to you spending so much time with that person and it's easy for them to feel neglected.
Yeah. Lucky our best friends like each other. No, that's not the right. Like us.
I think...
You know what I meant?
Yes,
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
Your best friend loves me and my best friend loves you.
Yes.
Yeah. In a platonic way.
I think the difference is, though, we're also in our 30s.
Yeah,
and
true.
we don't see our best friends every waking moment or every weekend anymore. I think that it would be different when you're out of high school or when you're still in that
Although you
space
saw
of not
yours a
being
lot
grown
more
up.
this year because of soccer.
Yeah, it's been amazing, actually. It's been the best time of my life. So anyway, the jury's out.
Communication is key.
The jury's out. All right, next one. Am I the arsehole for refusing to help my mum in a time of need after she disowned me when I came out?
This is already going to be so tough
This one is a long one.
because I know people in situations like this.
Yeah, I think this one is a long one.
Okay.
To be completely transparent, I am a trans man. In my family, I grew up Mormon. Faith and religion was everything in my family, and it was a real struggle going through my formative years. I grew up knowing I was different and being brought up to believe that the God that created me would hate me if he knew my true feelings, and not just God, but my family as well. Fast forward to my early 20s, I'd moved out of home and tried to distance myself from the church and from religion in general. And in doing so, I had started to accept who I was in my own queer journey. It definitely helped that I found an amazing girlfriend that really helped me accept myself and has allowed me to live as my true self while we're together.
Aww.
I eventually came out to my mum when I was 25. I took my girlfriend home to meet her, told her she was my girlfriend and that I wasn't going to be her daughter anymore because I was starting a transition to be her son. She threw me out. She told me she didn't have a son, and if I was going to choose a life of sin, she wasn't going to be a part of it. It's the hardest thing I've had to go through. Growing up trans is hard, not knowing who you should be or why you don't fit into basic things while all your friends are just so comfortable with who they are. But having a parent openly tell you to leave their life for being your authentic self really takes the cake. 2 years has passed and I'm 27 now. I haven't spoken to my mum for 2 years. I do keep in touch with my sister, but loosely. We aren't close, but she does check in on me every now and then. Just recently, my mum suffered a pretty bad stroke. My sister called straight away and I rushed to the hospital. It was pretty bad and she was in a coma for a few days until she came out of it. Honestly, we didn't know if she was going to live or if there was going to be damage if she did wake up, but she did. Obviously, not having seen her for a couple of years and being on T for majority of those years, my body had taken on some changes. When my mum was lucid enough and responsive, my sister and I went in. My sister kind of reintroduced me to my mum as her son, and she said she hadn't seen me for a while, not knowing how much she would remember or what her brain could comprehend. Well, my mum remembered everything and told me again, to my face, she has no son and she isn't sure what I was doing there. I was disowned all over again. Fast forward a few months, my mum has gone to live with my sister, but my sister is struggling to help my mum get back on her feet and needs my help, but I can't be around my mum. My sister and I are starting to fight about her care, and I know she needs help, but I don't know how to handle my mum's constant rejection of my identity. She's disowned me twice now. Am I the asshole for not helping my mum and my sister?
Oh,
that is
a lot.
Such a hard situation.
It's a very hard situation.
I actually feel really heavy after reading that.
I think I'm going to say no.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to say you're not the asshole. I think, honestly, you were disowned in the beginning, and that's tough for a lot of queer people, and especially a lot of queer people that we know have gone through a similar journey, whether they've just come out as gay, queer, trans, whatever, and they have unfortunately suffered that rejection or been disowned. And I think, it took a lot of courage and guts for you to go to your parents' side in a time of need when she was in a coma, but for her to be at her most vulnerable and still essentially disown you, I would be like, bye.
I think
I
the
don't think
hard
you're the
part
asshole
of this situation is not that you refused to go to her in the first place.
No.
You were there and you were showing up for her and she still disowned you. Like, it's not like the mum wants you there and you're refusing to go. She's openly said, you're not my son. That's really hard.
I'm going to say you're not the asshole in this situation. I think the mum is the asshole because, like I said, her at her most vulnerable has still been able to disown you and project her beliefs onto you and make you feel unwanted.
It comes back down to that same thing, hey, of like, I will never understand how you can put an apparition, whether you believe in God or you don't, like that's irrelevant to the story, how you can put something that you really aren't sure is real except for faith in front of your living, breathing, bleeding child.
Yeah, I find it so funny too, and I know I've spoken about it before, but when a parent is waiting to have a baby and they ask about the sex or the doctor asks about the sex and an expecting mother usually goes, oh, I don't care what it is as long as it's happy and healthy. How is that any different from when someone comes out to you as a trans man or a trans woman?
Why was it you only cared if they were happy and healthy before they were born?
Prior to birth.
That's why it's someone's own discomfort. Like, do you know what I mean? It's
it's because people can't understand the concept of
evolving.
Of change. Of change. It's, you've been taught to bring up gender a certain way, and suddenly they're going against what counts as social norms. So your brain's like, help.
I think in these situations, and I think I've said this before on the podcast too, is that people think about themselves first in this situation. So that parent then goes, oh, well, I can't get used to calling you a different name and I can't get used to seeing you differently. But, if we didn't see appearance and we just saw someone's soul, we would just see that person as they are the whole time they're alive. It wouldn't matter how they were presented to you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and everything's all taught anyways. It's only because we've been taught that this is what this gender is and this is what this is. Suddenly, because like I said, because they're going against the norms, it's like, oh, I don't know how to deal with this now.
Yeah.
So, no, I don't think you're the asshole.
I don't think you're the asshole either. I don't know what I would do in your situation. Honestly, I don't know what I would do in your situation.
I feel for you. It's hard.
But one thing I can say is I really don't know what the right thing would be to do, because I feel for your sister having to take care of your mum on her own, and she's obviously struggling. But I also am a true believer that you don't stay where you aren't cherished.
Wanted, yeah.
Yeah.
You're definitely in a rock and a hard place.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. All right, we're going to end on this one. This is also another long one.
Ooh, okay, let me get ready.
So let's back up that heavy story with another one. Here we go. Okay,
Therapy
last
time.
story for this week's episode. Am I the asshole for not letting my sister and her husband stay with me when they got kicked out of their house?
Okay.
Hard to
It depends
judge.
on, I can't judge. I can never judge by the titles or by the opening lines because I'm like, I need the context behind these stories.
Definitely. All right. Well, without sounding like an asshole, my sister and her husband are a bit both down and out.
What does that mean?
I think it means
Like sad
they don't have a lot of
or poor?
up and go.
Like not motivated.
Yeah.
Oh, right. They're just
Yeah, like maybe bogans.
Oh.
Yeah.
You can't discriminate against bogans.
I'm just saying, maybe that's what it means. I love my sister, but she has never made the best choices for herself, and her husband definitely wasn't a good choice. He treats her with utter disrespect. He's lazy, and after she works hard all day, he does nothing to contribute to their household.
Right.
Oh, and he's definitely homophobic and has called me a faggot on more than one occasion.
How dare he?
There it is. Just recently, they were evicted from their rental because he had gambled their money instead of paying the rent.
Hashtag triggered.
Unbeknownst to my sister, she thought he'd been paying it and all their other bills, but instead he was going to the pokies during the day and pissing the money away. Still triggered?
Yeah.
So after being kicked out of their rental, they were faced with the dilemma on where they were going to live. It's currently not the easiest to find a place. Our parents live 2 hours away, so it's not feasible for them to move in there because my sister would have to commute 4 hours return a day to her job.
Jesus.
So the most pliable option for the meantime was that they would stay with me and my partner. The problem with that is my partner and I are a gay male couple and her husband a down and out homophobe. It's not going to work. I have been absolutely ridiculed by her husband, and we've both been disrespected to the point where really we like to stay away from him as much as possible. So as much as I love my sister, I'm refusing to let him stay in our house.
Fair.
My sister is quite upset with me, and even my parents have told me off for being unreasonable. But I don't think they quite understand how uncomfortable it would be to live with a bigot like him when my partner and I's lifestyle is not something we wish to suppress for someone else. I told my sister she could stay, but he would have to stay elsewhere, or they would have to stay with friends or her husband's family. Apparently, he doesn't have a great relationship with his family because of a blow-up a few years ago.
Why am I not surprised?
Yeah. The story's telling itself here, guys. Am I the asshole for not letting them stay here together? I'm trying to protect my own lifestyle and well-being, and as much as I love my sister and would never see her on the street, I just don't think anyone gets how uncomfortable it is to be around her homophobic husband. I don't want to have to be hearing bigoted comments in my own house when I absolutely know it will happen, and I don't want to subject my partner to it either.
No, you're not the asshole.
It's still a hard situation.
Do you think so?
I definitely don't think he's the asshole.
No.
And I definitely don't think that the husband should stay.
No.
But it is a hard situation because if the sister is not willing to let the husband stay elsewhere and she can be housed with her brother, then I think that's a problem.
I think it's
it's her problem.
I think she's got other problems going on prior to.
Do you know what a good solution
Just
is?
that.
Divorce.
Yeah.
Divorce is a great solution.
It is. 1, you're not the asshole. 2, protect your peace. It's your house. 3, if the parents are getting up you, give them some money to go to a hotel or something for a few weeks until they can get back on their feet.
No, but why should you give him money when he pisses the money away?
Well, yeah, that too. That's his own
9 times
fault.
out of 10, it's probably not even going to go to a hotel. It'll probably go back to the pokies.
I was so triggered when you read that. When you read that story.
About vices.
Yeah, about vices and about, not that I've heard homophobic comments from my ex, but from his brother or his family or mates like that, and then just from living paycheck to paycheck to the point where it was $0 because same thing. It was go to the pokies or bet on horses.
And really weird, like he reached out to you the other day.
Yeah, he did. And I was like, bye.
That's so weird.
Blocked. And I think he tried to reach out to me previously. And again, it's all only because he wants money and he has no other connections. And whoever he obviously isn't dating at the time realizes that.
Is he married? He could be this person's
maybe. I have
sister's
no
husband.
idea. I don't think so. I don't think he's been in a long enough relationship except for ours to marry anyone.
Yeah. I do think this situation is a hard situation. Obviously, you would never want your family to be out on the street. You would always want to protect your sibling. But when they are making tough choices, like who they choose to spend their life with, and especially when they're making bigoted comments towards you, like, why would someone in your family choose someone who doesn't accept your family? Like, especially in this way.
I think, you know, you also have to go back to your sibling or to your sister and put it back on her and go, imagine how she would feel if it was like the shoe was on the other foot. If suddenly this brother said the same thing to her.
What if they were the straight ones?
Yeah, if they were the straight ones and
her
she was the wife and
weren't allowed to live with them because they were queer.
Making comments and all this stuff, you know, you've got to put yourself in other people's shoes to really understand.
I think it's hard when it's family because...
It is. It makes it tricky.
As I said before, am such a believer in stay where you have worth, and if your family is not that place, that can be really hard, but sometimes family is toxic, man.
Yeah.
Like you really have to weigh up what is good for your mental health and what is good for your sustainability of your life. And I think this is all this person is doing, is thinking about, well, how can he sustain his life and his future and his relationship? And it's probably not by having his sister and her husband live with them.
Yeah. And I agree with that. And like I said at the beginning, I don't think you're the asshole. I think it's a case of you just needing to protect your peace.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're going to leave it there because some of these were heavy and we are kind of going into doing a few shorter episodes so that we aren't blabbing on in your ears for a million years.
Yeah.
So we hope that you enjoyed this week while Lauren still is away.
In Japan, kawaii.
I am still chipping away at this awesome episode that I can't wait to share with everybody and I can't wait to share with Lauren. I'm not going to say too much more about it, but it is coming. It'll
when I
probably be
return.
Yes, it'll be when Lauren returns. So I'm super excited about it. Hope it's going to be good. I'm sure it will be. I hope.
I'm sure it will
This
be.
is how much faith I have in myself for research and getting everything.
You've got it. You got it.
I got this.
You got it, girl.
Yes. Well, until next week.
I guess you better remember to
Stay gay, motherfuckers.